This is a beginning tutorial for making the initial preference settings in Final Cut Pro. When you first launch it, you'll get some blank windows like this. The first thing we need to do is deal with the name and location of the library. The library is the highest level master repository that's going to contain all of our footage as well as the files that Final Cut Pro itself creates. Now, if you're going to store everything on the computer where you're working, all you need to do is rename this library file to something more meaningful. So double click it slowly and you can edit that name. I'll call it Jeff's Library. Now, if you're going to store everything on your own portable external hard drive, you need to do this step a little differently. So I'll put this back to where we started. Instead of renaming it, you need to right click it, select Close Library, then click on Open Library and select New. Now you need to find your external drive. I have several attached. I could select any of these, but I'll put it here. Give it a name and click Save. Okay. Now no matter where you're storing your stuff, on the computer or on your own external drive, the rest of the steps are the same. The next one is to rename this event to something more meaningful than the date. So again, slowly double click it. I'm going to call it Class Projects. Okay. Now with that event selected, go up to File, New, and select Project. This would be a good place to input the title of your film if it has one. I'll call this Wonder Boys. And here you need to make sure under Video Properties it says Set Based on First Video Clip. That needs to be selected. Okay. And that completes the first part of the preference setup. Now for the second part, you need to click on the project you just created to highlight it. Go up to the Final Cut Pro menu, select Preferences, and we'll just go through this tab by tab. Start with the General tab. These can be left at the default. Just make sure this is set to hours, minutes, seconds, and frames. Then go to the Editing tab. This can also be left at the default. Just make sure that this says pixels. Playback tab. Make sure background render is selected. The rest can be left at the default. Go to the Import tab. Now these are the two most important settings we're going to make. Under Files, you need to make sure Copy to Library Storage Location is selected. And it doesn't matter where you're storing your stuff, on the computer or on your own portable external drive. In either case, you want to copy your footage and everything else to the same location as your library. Then under transcoding, make sure you have selected Create Optimized Media. That's important. The rest can be left at the default. We're also not going to worry about the Destinations tab. That's for when we get to outputting our project. Okay, so click the red Close button, and that completes the initial setup of preferences. I want to mention one thing. If you have a Mac, Apple offers a free, fully functional 30-day trial of Final Cut Pro. I highly recommend it. It's a good way to spend a little extra time practicing with Final Cut in the convenience of your own home and on your own laptop.